come join me there. Let's have a good conversation. See some going live in
Good evening. Hi, Bodam.
Hello. I can't.
Can you hear me?
No, not yet.
Oh, wow. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, Bodam. Can you hear me? All right. So while Bodam is sorting out, oh, fantastic! So welcome everyone. I'm so excited. I'm sure that we can also see that Bodam is also excited to be here as well. And so welcome on behalf of all of us at Visionary Compass. We welcome you to this pivot conversation. I mean, most especially on behalf of the lead coach, GDK. And I mean, just let's know in the chat box where you are joining us from. Bring all the energy. Let's know that you are here, ready to get all the juice, all the tips, and everything that is going to be coming. All right, where are you joining in from? So just put, are you joining from Lagos? Are you joining from the US? So just put it in the chat box. I see someone joining from Abuja, from Ogun State, from Lagos. All right, keep it coming. Bring in the energy. Let's know that you're in the room. I see someone from Calgary. Hi, from Port Harcourt. Nice to have you here. So yes, my name is Bisola. I am your host. I'm honored to be your host this evening. I am a proud VCAP alumni, right there with Bodam Taiwo. So yes, we are going to be having this amazing conversation this evening. We are here for it. Bodam, I mean, people are loving your smile here. Okay, so all right. So we're gonna get right into it. Oh, yay! And we have Abiola Adediran here with us as well. So fun fact, guys, all three of us are VCAP alumni, right? So this is a reunion of sorts happening during this pivot conversation. But yes, let's get right into it. And I mean, before we go into it, it might be good to let me introduce these amazing ladies that we have here, amazing women doing amazing things. And so when it helps you, just think about it a little, and then you begin to realize why you are really in for a treat. So let me start with Viola. Abiola Adediran is one of Nigeria's finest business and executive life coaches. She's worked in corporate finance. She's worked as a business expert, business strategy expert for over a decade. Right, she has vast experience in business strategy, auditing, financial management, corporate valuation. I mean, just name it. She's regarded as an innovative change leader with sterling results that stand out as a model in the industry. Right, so she's popularly called Biola Flow, and her goal is to become a catalyst for the transformation of African businesses. And we have with us Bodam Taiwo. So I always love this part of her bio every time I have to say it. So combining marketing and communications expert, a feminine leadership coach, and an author, and you have the extraordinary visionary that is Bodam Taiwo. So she's on a mission to empower, motivate, and catalyze women to lead authentic lives, elegant lives, purposeful lives. She's a visionary behind the Refined Lady movement. If you haven't heard about that, you guys are missing out. Please go and check. Just Google and check it out and come back to thank me. And so basically, we are going to have this really, really amazing conversation around rapid execution and the codes that really work. Right. And I want us to start by shattering some tables. Bodam and Biola, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready to. Okay, so Bodam, let me start with you. I mean, when you hear rapid execution, right? What comes to mind, and what was that? What was that thing you learned about rapid execution that basically changed your mindset? Around what execution is.
Yeah, thank you for starting me off easy. I appreciate it. So, when I hear rapid execution, first thing that comes to my mind is moving quickly in the direction that you've seen. And I think the one thing that I sort of learned from this, or before we even enter into rapid execution, is it boils from my belief. What do I believe? How much do I believe in what it is I've seen? How much do I believe in this vision, in this dream, in whatever it is that it is? And that is what births the thing of rapid execution. So you can't run quickly to execute something that you're not 100% um, believing in. You can't run to, you don't have the fire or the impetus to go after what you want to go after with all your heart if you don't even have a deep seated conviction and sense of belief about that. And that was the very first thing. That's the foundation. Before we rapid execute anything, you have to believe in what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, and I find that very interesting, right? Because typically when people hear execution, it's like, what am I doing? I mean, what product am I launching? Have I created the website? Have I started this business? So we typically we typically tie execution to actual doing. But what you're saying is the foundation actually should be what you believe, right? It should be what you see. Okay, that's fantastic, and it highlighted the rapid execution is moving quickly in the direction that you see. And I mean, just riding on that question, Biola, I know you're backstage, so I will just move the second question to you. Um, how does clarity play a role in you being able to rapidly execute?
Thank you so much. Even without you asking that question, that was the next thing that was right on my lips,
Awesome.
that I was going to share on the back of what Bodam already started with, right? The energy with which you execute rapidly comes from clarity. So when you
Mm-hmm.
talk about rapid execution, it's different from execution. That rapid actually qualifies it, and it means that you're moving very quickly in the direction of what you see, which is what Budam already said. But you see, what powers you in that direction is the energy that you get from clarity. So
Mm,
even if you cut a vision about something that is possible, right, in your life, whether it is career, your personal life, your marriage, your business, your finances, your parenting, whichever area of your life that you catch a vision and you feel like you need to move in a certain direction, what gives you the energy for the rapid in that execution is the power that comes from clarity. It is clarity that moves you very quickly. There is a sense in which you catch this big, audacious vision and you feel like, my God, this thing is overwhelming. And sometimes we kind of shrink because you're looking at the big goals and everything, and you're like, oh my God, is it me that is really going to achieve this? How do I even go about it? But you see, what gets you to take the first step, and then the
yeah.
next step, and then the next step is clarity. That is the engine that powers, just the same way you have, you start a car, and for you to be able to rev up the engine and move as quickly as as possible, that car must be fueled. So clarity is the fuel that powers the vision that you see and then
Mm.
gets you on the course of rapid execution.
Mm. And I find that very interesting, right? Because I mean, when we talk about clarity, and this is literally taking us back to VCAP, right? And when we think about the way the labs were set up, so it starts from literally clarify before you go into launch, before you go into build and scale, right? So I mean, let me put it out there. How much clarity do you actually need? And the reason why I ask this is there's a tendency for people to get stuck in, I haven't seen the full picture. I cannot start yet. I need it to be crystal clear. I need to have the full roadmap before I can actually start. How much clarity, and from your experience, really, how much clarity do you need to actually begin to execute?
Interestingly, God gives us a day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we know that we have a long journey ahead of us and we also have eternity at the end of this life, right? It gives us a day per time. What that means is that even though you have this big vision about this thing that you want to pursue, what you
Yeah.
need for the now is all that you need to get into action. there's a tendency, like you said, to want to, overanalyze, break things down. You want to see the end to end. But you see, even the same clarity that you seek, most of the time comes from taking the first step. It comes from action, right? So part of seeking clarity, for instance, about a vision is taking the first action. First action could be sitting down with a coach rather, sitting down with a coach to say, I'm thinking about this. You've done this before, or you know somebody that has done it. How do you think I can go about it? That is a way to seek clarity. It could be understudying somebody that has already done that, even if you don't have one-on-one interaction with them. It could be picking up, a book, on that same subject and schooling yourself, on that particular thing. Now you're still on the journey of clarifying, but guess what? You're already in action and you're building momentum already, right? So, what takes you from step one to step two to step three to step four are the actions that you take. So, don't wait till you get step A to step Z. If all you have is step A to C to E or D or whatever, move with that. Because by the time you get to step C, you will find the clarity that takes you to maybe F or G and H, right? So clarity really about taking steps. It's about taking action and working with what you have per time and trusting that as you take steps, as you take action, the other part of it will get unfolded to you. Because the truth is that until you get yourself in action, you don't really truly see, right? And so don't even bother wanting to see end to end before you step into action. And a lot of reasons why, especially women, we shy away from taking action is because, we're perfectionists. We want to see everything. We don't want to make mistakes, right? And so that thing about not wanting to make mistakes always make people not take action at all. So when people don't even take action at all, then we can't be talking about rapid execution. There will be nothing rapid about
Yes.
it. If
In fact, there
anything,
won't be any
a
execution
lot
at
of
all.
stalling. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's so many nuggets that you've dropped there, right? And it's, I mean, a big one for me is the clarity comes from the action. Clarity comes in doing. And I almost feel like that process of seeking clarity is also execution. Is also
absolutely.
a form, it's also a form of execution, right? And it's
Absolutely.
like you're literally building up, and then once you get that clarity, the rapid part, like you mentioned,
Boom.
literally comes in, and then you are going you are going.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, so that's really insightful. But now let's talk a bit about personalities. Right, so some people would say, I mean, there are some people who are sort of like born executioners, right? It's very easy for them to just, they see a roadmap, they get, and boom, they're just going, they're like literally running. It might
Mm-hmm.
even be people saying slow down, you need to take it easy. But then there are others that, I mean, naturally doesn't come to them naturally. Right
Mm.
now, what would you say to those people, to people who are a bit maybe more prone to, I want to analyze everything, I want to make sure the plan is perfect, I'm not this person who is very quick to start executing. So how would you say the person, I mean, this types of person would need to approach it?
Okay, so I think it's also important that people understand their personalities, right? When you understand your personality, you identify what your areas of strengths are, and you also understand the areas of your weaknesses. So if you're someone that naturally just overanalyze things, you're such a perfectionist, you want the blueprint, everything laid down and all that, or you are such a very good procrastinator. Like you can talk about the idea, it will sound very, interesting and all, but to take the first action is where the issue is. My charge to you is know thyself. Because until you know yourself, you don't really know where you are failing in a sense. Even if you have a fantastic idea, when you don't take action on it, guess what? You lose the energy that that idea came with. You lose it in waiting, right? And the fact that an idea has come to you does not mean that it has not come to 1,000 other people. Before you say Jack Robinson, another person has launched what you were supposed to launch. So My point is, first know yourself. If you know that you are the kind of person that you're not very great at execution, find a partner. Don't go solo. Find a partner. And by partner, I don't mean that the person is coming on the journey with you, but the person is could be an accountability partner. So the moment you hold yourself accountable to somebody about a vision that you have caught that you
Yeah.
want to work on, and you draw an accountability partner on that journey with you, guess what? You will not stall on yourself because you know you don't want to look bad. You don't want to look unserious. And don't go and carry another friend that is just like you and say, this person is my accountability partner. Both of you are just rolling and dragging yourself, and nobody's really pulling the other one up, right? Find someone that you respect, that you don't want to look bad to. That's the secret. Find someone that can hold you accountable on that journey, right? And then gradually you start to take it one by one, because there's somebody who will be asking you, how far? What
Yeah.
steps have you taken? Where are we going? Who are you talking to? So hold yourself accountable to somebody. Another thing that I usually, tell people to do is, if you are running a business, for instance, let's say this is a business scenario that you're trying to launch, right? I think it's important for you to find partners within your business that complement you. And when I say partners, I don't mean necessarily financial partners. Your team members are your stakeholders, they are your partners. When you are hiring people, hire people that are very great at execution, because you have studied yourself. You know yourself that you're such an idea person. Like, ideas will just be buzzing in your head 247. But to take the first step usually is where the problem is.
Yeah.
When you are hiring, put that into consideration and find people who are very great executionists. People that are just waiting to get the idea, and before you say Jack Robinson, they are running with it. They're the one literally chasing you to say, okay, so what next? So where are we going? Who are we talking to? You need people like that around you. It's either you have them as accountability partners, meaning within your circle of friends, or maybe as a mentor, somebody that just holds you accountable, that calls you every now and again, or at least you have a pre-scheduled time that you meet to discuss these things and can put you on your goals every point in time. Also, your team, it could also be volunteers. So let's say, for instance, somebody is starting a business, you're a solopreneur, and you're already telling me, oh, I don't have a team. I feel already I'm disadvantaged, and I know that I'm not such a great executionist. Find volunteers.
Yeah.
Find people that believe in the idea that you are trying to launch, and then let them be part of your team. Just enlist them on that journey. Again, the journey of rapid execution is not a journey that you can go solo, right? You cannot afford to go solo. So many times it is the people that you surround yourself with, or the systems, the accountability systems that you build around yourself and around that particular thing you want to do, that actually propel you on the journey of rapid execution.
Amazing. Amazing. So there are three things, I think three key things that you shared that I would want to touch on, again. So the first is, you said there is an energy that comes with an idea, and when you don't execute quickly, that energy dissipates, right? And you lose it.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think that's very, very key. I mean, because there's that initial buzz that comes with a new idea. And I'm sure it's something that we all can, I mean, in the audience, we all can relate with, right? The initial buzz that comes with the idea, where it seems like you can literally burn the midnight candle working on
In
this. But then when
fact,
you, yeah.
let me give you an example, a very clear example. I
Mm-hmm.
launched a product in January of 2021,
Okay.
right? Which was an idea that came out of a coaching session I had with DDK, when we were looking at my products, or we were looking at my business and other things that I could do. Of course, I was on a journey of sort of productizing my services. And this particular idea came out of that session, because of, the energy that came with it, right? On a good day, this is something that could easily take somebody 3 months to execute, because you say, oh, I need to, it was a toolkit, right, that I was
Okay.
launching, a set of toolkits, and there were quite a lot of them. And I was going to be recording a lot of videos. I was going to be doing, the campaign. I was going to be developing the tools themselves, into a form that it can be sold. And it was quite a lot of work. But guess what? When I talk about energy, energy propels you that You won't even know that you are having 3 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep because it keeps you going. I
Mm.
launched within 13 days.
Amazing.
I launched it
Amazing.
13 days. And within in less than 3 days of launching it, we were already talking 6, 7 figures, right? So you need that energy. I mean, if it was something that I was still telling myself, oh, I'm going to need this, I'm going to, another thing that I did that was, very key was I identified in executing that particular thing that I wanted to launch, that particular product. I identified people I wanted to work with. I
Yeah.
identified the things that only me could do. And then I understood the things that other people could do. And what did I do? I outsourced
Mm.
so that I focus on the things that I'm the only one that can do it.
That
And
can
guess
do
what?
it.
Yeah, outsource. And so I had a plan. I sold the idea. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to create it. Had a session, with the other people that I brought on board. And guess
Yeah.
what? We went into it. 13 days, we were done.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And I think it ties into what you had also said, right, about knowing yourself, right, and then building a team, whether they are volunteers, employees, that complements you. Because I mean, a typical challenge that people have is you want to hire someone who is like you, right? But
Most
then when you
times.
make exactly you want, I mean, default is, oh, this person is just like me, we jive. And then you realize that that defeats the purpose of having someone who complements you. And the third thing that I mean really struck me while you were speaking was accountability, right? Especially if you're that sort of, I mean, if I'm the sort of person who needs the additional encouragement. And I mean, dare I say that joining communities also help with this. And VCAP is one.
Absolutely.
VCAP is one. I
Absolutely.
mean, a community
In
of other
fact,
visionaries. Yes.
you're so right. You're so right. There's something that being in the right community does for you. There are
Yeah.
some times that you actually catch some visions, like some ideas come to you, and you're wondering, am I sure I'm the woman for the job?
Mm,
Do you see? But when you are in a community of people that are ignited, people that are also running their own courses, and you're seeing how people are just doing amazing, guess what? You start to borrow belief from them.
yes. Yes.
You start to borrow their belief. You start to
Yes.
say, you know what? If Bodam can actually do this thing, like she literally wrote a book and launched it in less than 3 weeks or in less than 3 months, or she launched this community coaching, whatever, whatever. And you'll be like, my goodness, I've been sitting on this thing for so long. I also want to write a book. Now you can see Bodam. Bodam
Yeah.
has done it. So whatever it is that is like the barrier already in your head, it's shattered because you can see an example of someone that has done what you're trying to do. And that helps you to start to borrow belief. So
Mm.
you start to borrow belief from other people, and that helps you to propel you on your own journey and also to sort of get the confidence that you need to tell you that you can really do it and, of course, get on it.
Fantastic. Borrow belief, guys. Borrow, ladies and gentlemen, borrow belief. And I think it's a very powerful concept, right? Because at the end of the day, it's realizing that it's this safe space. I know DDK talks about this blue ocean strategy where it's not a shark sort of competition. So I am seeing someone else do it and I realize I can do it as well. So one of that, I mean, and you touched on this briefly when you were talking about identifying the things that only you can do, what other people can do, and then outsourcing, right? And what comes to mind is systems, setting up the right structure. So do you want to talk a bit about that and how it plays a role in being able to rapidly execute?
So many times when we talk about system structures, they sound like buzzwords. They sound like very big words, right?
Mhm.
You see, there's a system that is operating in our lives already. We already have systems. Whether they're the best systems that power us, that gives us the energy or that get things done quicker, faster, and more efficiently is usually where the question is. right? Whether your systems are efficient. That's usually, where the question is. So for instance, you wake up in the morning, you already have a routine of when you wake up first thing, maybe you read your Bible or you pray or you listen to some meditation, whatever. And then some people do some journaling in the morning, and then you do some exercise, have your morning tea, and then you go and shower and then get ready, and then you're on your way to work and all of those. Now that's a system. You already have something running. That's how your day starts, and that's what powers you. So you do things that are already like, they've gone into your habit. And the truth is that systems are formed out of habits, the things that you do over and over and over and over again, right? That's how you form systems. So whether it's in your personal life or it's your business or your career, you already have systems operating in your life. Is the system serving me and serving my vision, my purpose? Usually is the question that I always get people to ask. If you're a business owner, you have systems already, right? How do you onboard new customers in your business? How do you serve them end to end, from the moment somebody is knocking your door to say, I need what you're selling, to the point where you ultimately deliver it to that person? There is a journey, and you do things the way you do it because you form the habit of how you always show up for your clients to serve them. That already is a system. Is the system efficient? Is the system delivering the best result for you? That usually is where the question is. So
Mhm.
similarly, when it comes to executing your vision, your big audacious goals, the systems that you have formed in your life is what will really power you through how you execute those visions or the goals that you have set for yourself. So, for instance, if I want to write a book, what systems have I set in my life, or what systems are running in my life right now that will enable me to be able to write a book in 30 days? Do you see what I'm trying to say? We already
Indeed.
talked about accountability partners. That is a system, because you then have to come up with a plan that enables you to sit with your accountability partner either once a week or once every other day, whatever it is, how many hours you're sitting down. You now draw up a schedule of research that you want to do. You're drawing an outline and all of those things. You have to create a system, that an operating system that will power that vision. And it's in the little things. Don't even think system, structure, those big words.
Yeah.
It's in the little things. The question to
Yeah.
ask yourself is, looking at your life today, the way you live your life day by day, do you
Mm-hmm.
have systems running that are not in alignment or will not power your vision and get you into rapid execution? That's a question to ask.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, guys, I'm sure you can see that and you can hear that there are so many gems dropping here. It's not too late to get your people in, your friends, family, and also please share the link, send the link to them, encourage them to join. We still have a bit more time to go in this conversation. So please get them in, get them in. Bill, I know you have to leave. You have to leave shortly, but there is a question here for you that I would like to take. And this question is from Banker. She says, I am a fast executioner, but I lack staying power. I tend to lose momentum quickly. What do you advise I do to keep the pace I began with?
For people that are very, very fast executioner, there's a tendency for you to also burn out very quickly, which is where not having that staying power also comes from. Because you've started with so much energy, and there's a sense in which, if you're not careful, if you don't have something that sort of nourishes you, that helps you to build up on the energy that you're burning, right? If you don't have something that replenishes you on that journey, there's a tendency for you to burn out quickly, and you feel like you're losing momentum, right? It could be that, so let's say, for instance, you're trying to launch something and maybe you've gone like 3 days without much sleep, right? There's a tendency that on the fourth day, you may feel like you're useless, like you can't really do much. Do you see what I mean? So, what you need to do as someone who is a visionary and you're powering through your vision and executing rapidly, is to find a self-care routine that replenishes you.
Mm.
Secondly, don't try to do everything by yourself because you can also get burnt out in that process, right? And then cut yourself some slacks in between, like give yourself a break. When I say a break, that break is to catch your breath. It's not like you leave it for a long time. And it
Yeah.
helps you to just, fuel yourself back so that, you can go at it again. So if you are really up and running on something for 4 days a week, you may want to take a full day out to rest, to catch some good sleep, to just do something that relaxes you and help your mind to also kind of, I won't say rejuvenate, but you're trying to refresh yourself so that you can, because you're placing demand on your mind, you're placing demand on your mental faculty and all of that, and even on your body, on your physical body, you're placing a demand on it in the moment where you are executing and you're powering through rapidly, a goal or a vision or whatever that it is that you're working on, right? So find a self-care routine that works for you. For me, I love sleep.
It is underrated. I think that's the best way to
Yes,
put it.
it's amazing how much 30 minutes sleep can do for you in the middle of
Yes.
a day when your head
Yes.
is hot. I have found it to be, I don't know whether it works for other people, but it works
Hmm.
so well for me. And
Yeah.
when I know, and then like what I said about knowing yourself, I know when I'm I'm exhausted. When I say exhausted, it may not mean that I'm physically exhausted, but in my mind, my hand starts to twitch, and then I realize that my attention span is reducing, and then I'm taking more time to do things that I will have done in a short time. At that time, I know I need to retreat.
Mm.
So know yourself. And because we also operate in circles, you will find your peak and then the point where you're low.
Yeah.
Maximize your peak periods. It also goes back to knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Maximize the time when you are at your peak and nourish yourself when you are at your low end. Take it as a time to nourish yourself. Don't try to be a superwoman. It's not about being a
Yes.
superwoman. You want to be effective even when you're rapidly executing. So,
Yes.
understanding those circles, understanding your peak and the low points would help you to maximize your time and maximize yourself as a resource that you're deploying in executing your vision.
And I think that's really amazing. And it's funny how, we actually started out by talking about knowing yourself, at the beginning, and we have, come back to it again. And I mean, in VCAP, in the clarify at the clarify stage, one of the things that you actually first clarify is clarify yourself, right, where you actually get to know yourself. So I mean, what motivates you, what's your productivity type like, right? So knowing yourself and how that ties into how you work, how you execute your vision, cannot be overemphasized. So it looks like Banker really asked the question that was that was on the heart of a lot of people, because clearly, the chat box is buzzing. The chat box is buzzing. Viola, would you have time to take one last question?
Yeah, we can do that in 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. So what's the trick in ensuring all your important foundational or groundwork is done for the project you want to execute? Um, Before stepping out with the little you have or no. So I guess the question is, at what point would you be comfortable, stepping out?
When you say stepping out, you mean stepping out of the work that you're building? Is that what it is? This question is not very
Start.
clear.
Okay.
Um,
So it says, what's the trick in ensuring all your important foundational or groundwork is done for the project you want to
Okay, I think I
execute?
get what this
Yeah,
person is
before you
saying.
actually
In terms of
start.
that clarifying phase where you catch
Yeah.
an idea, something comes to you, and you feel like, okay, at what point would I feel like I have enough
Yes.
to go out with? I think that answer is it depends, to be honest.
Okay.
It depends on what you're working on at time. And the truth is that when you catch an idea, and you start to gather information about it. The more information you start to gather, I don't know if this has happened to you before, but when I'm on a quest trying to understand something, I start to see things that relate to that thing everywhere. All of a sudden, somebody
Yes.
sends me an email, and then I'm seeing that thing. And before you know it, I'm hearing it in the news. And then before
Yeah.
you know it, I'm seeing it in newspaper. I'm seeing it,
Yeah.
and it's almost as if it's everywhere. I think it's because my consciousness is centered around that thing. That's why it's now sort of attracting that thing to me, or I'm beginning to notice it and becoming aware of it. Now, the truth is that you will not always feel like you have everything. That's the truth. You will not always feel like you have everything that you would need to step out. But with the information that you have, with the clarity that you have, take it one step at a time. And having taken the first step, it will be easier for you to find the next step and then the next step. I don't think there will ever be a time that you will feel like you have everything. Because many times, if it is not money, it is knowledge or the access that you need to people. Do you see what I'm saying? So I don't think there will ever be a time where you will feel like you have everything. But I think there are maybe some very important things that you have to sort of cross out. Again, it depends on the kind of project that you're working on, right? Like I've been working on, an edtech platform for some time now, right? And we have not launched because we are still in beta testing phase. We have a product like a minimum viable product, but there are certain things that are important from a quality assurance standpoint. You don't want to launch something that is defective. So you take time to go through and get other people to look at what it is you're building. And then you feel comfortable that even this, your minimum viable product, is good to go. And then you continue to improve on it. Don't wait for it to be perfect, is what I'm going to say. But once you have your minimum viable product, the vanilla, plain vanilla, put it out there, let people start to interact with it. And then you see how you're going to improve on it, and it can only get better.
Indeed, indeed. So not getting stuck, but at the
Yes,
same time making sure that you're doing excellent work per time. Thank you
absolutely.
so much. Thank you so much, Biola. This was such an amazing conversation. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please drop your comments in the chat box. Let her know how amazing the nuggets, the gems that she dropped were. What were your key takeaways? What were your key highlights? And I think it's important again to talk about the need to be in the right community. She said borrow belief, be in that community that basically encourages you and lets you know that you can do it. And what better community than the Visionary Compass, Accelerator program? Applications are open. Applications are open. I wish we could have drum roll right now. And so let's I believe the link will come up in the comment section. The team will drop it there, so please check out the application, read more about the program, see what is on offer, and you will be wowed at the amazing I would call it a banquet. I think that's the best way. That's the best way to describe it. So Bodam is going to come back up to join me. I am looking forward to continuing this conversation with her. Hi,
Hello.
Bodam.
Hello. Oh,
Hi. You know what?
backstage.
So
Oh my goodness.
let's spend 1 minute telling
Okay.
them about the banquet that is VCAP.
Oh my goodness. Where do we want to
Yes.
begin?
I
You
don't know.
know,
I
okay,
don't know.
let me tell you. I like stories, so let me tell you a little story. When we started off, we had to write an application. So
Yes.
sit and you write an application, and it's like a very it's like as if you're writing what now? Like a university degree, because our coach is inside her, she's a professor. So the
Indeed.
application was a professorship kind of thing, right? Anyway, so we wrote the application, we came in, and they kept on saying it's an MBA grade program. Let me not lie. Honestly, on the inside of me, I rolled my eyes a little. I was like, okay, MBA grade, fine. Like, okay, like how tedious can it be? Hmm. My sisters and my brothers, if there are any brothers over here, right? We entered in, we had the core curriculum. So every week, if I'm not mistaken, on Monday every week, the core curriculum will drop. And this is a module that teaches you something about anything, different parts of your life and all of that. So that will drop on a weekly basis. And we had that. You have to watch it. You give your comments underneath. Some of them had assignments. So,
Yeah,
Peter, can you remember we have
I
assignments? We have
remember.
the assignment. That was on the one hand. We thought, okay, it's just so initially we're like, okay, core curriculum. It's a tedious thing, but it's okay. DDK now said, well, why are you people complaining it's tedious? We've not started. I said, then we interjected into, we had the labs. And, I was in build. So there were four labs. There was clarify,
Launch
launch, thank you, build, and scale.
skill.
Exactly,
Yes.
depending on where you are with your vision. And you had lab specific workshops. So you and your lab members would meet and have your own set time to brainstorm and to work on something and to teach. We had the transformation rubrics. Guys, the way this, and I'm not even going to go and join Visionary Compass if you want to know the transformation, but the way the transformation rubrics changed the way that I started setting goals for myself was amazing. You would never set goals in the same way again. You're not just saying, I want to. No, it's such a holistic system that covers every single thing. That one was there. We've still not scratched the surface. Then we had the powerhouse, the secret sauce of what was called an execution blueprint.
Yes, and that is where we are going to sit a little.
The execution blueprint for build. I remember when it came out because we're asking, give us our execution blueprint. Let's quickly, so in my mind, when I was entering Visionary Compass, I was going to finish build within a few weeks because I'm focused in destiny and then quickly move on to scale. I didn't really know who I was working with. I didn't understand the professor that was leading Visionary Compass. So we started and the execution blueprint came out and then we started entering into it. The one for build was about 130 pages of, guys, not 130 pages of fluff, not 130 pages of what you can just Google off of the internet, 130 pages or thereabouts of wisdom, the exact stages you need to take to get your vision from point A to point B tangibly, the exact resources that you need to cover to take you from point A to point B. And I'm seeing a question about when VCAP is starting, and we're going to answer that in a moment, right? Yeah, we're going to answer it in a moment. So okay, and all of that, and then tied with the execution blueprint was the action planning template. And you had this template that you had to sit with and you create your own goals, and then you have your resident mentors. I had the most amazing resident mentors. I don't know about anybody else. My resident mentor was just amazing on all fronts. When she calls, I'm telling her, I'm like, RM, I don't know if I can get here. She's like, I believe in you. She'll be saying, I
Yes,
believe in you, very soft voice. I believe in you.
yes.
Then she'll be adding, but the message that you carry is not just for this few. You need to expand. Me too, I'll be fired up with belief. Because what did Abiola say? She said you need to borrow belief from
Belief.
others.
Exactly. Yes.
Sometimes you might have a vision that you're carrying, you might have something that's burning on the inside of you, but some days we'll ask the question that, am I really sure? Am I, this thing, is it necessary? Is it needed? Am I sure? All of these questions that we tend to ask. And that's why when you're in the right communities, you just draw from the belief of others, of people who have actually seen what you have seen as well. So these were some of the nuggets. Oh, then the coaching calls.
Yes, with the lead coach, those were amazing. And I mean before we continue to go to the various aspects of the banquets, okay, so there was a question about when VCAP is starting. So it's supposed to start in the month of July, so next month. So applications are already open. The link has been put in the comment section. Please check it out. There are various plans. There are various plans, payment plans as well. So all of the details are on the website. You would see them there. Um, so now let's talk a bit about that execution blueprint, right? Because I mean the essence of this conversation is about rapid execution, right? So how did the execution blueprint help to propel propel everything that you worked on? And I mean, I know you've worked on quite a bit in the last 1 year. A significant amount of work, amazing work. So what role did having an execution blueprint and an action plan, what role did that play in you being able to execute the way that you did?
So you see, I think there are two types of people, Bisola. There's the first type of people, and even with VCAP in everywhere, there are two types of people. The first type of people that would look at the execution blueprint and be like, this thing is not that deep now. Is it not? Is it not? Is it not a? I've been doing this for a while. I know the wisdom behind it. Is it not this? I've been doing this for a while. There are those type of people. But if you're someone that wants to execute rapidly, you need to trust the process.
Mm,
Trust the process. And the reason we enter into communities that were trusted, the reason we get coaches and mentors and teachers, the reason we have accountability partners is because we sort of trust that they've gone where we want to go. So when I got the execution blueprint, it hit me first. I took a few days off. I was like, but go to the spa and have a massage because I think you need to gain strength. Biola says she likes to sleep. Mine is that if I had my way, I'll have an in-home spa with a permanent masseuse there to just take care of me and make me happy. But that's by the way, right? If you know what to gift me now, gift me spa vouchers. Anyway, I took a few days off, but I came back and I realized that by following the process, I moved faster. I moved further, much faster. Following and trusting the process, going step by step. Now, again, everybody is different. The first thing I did with the execution blueprint was I read through it from point A, from the beginning all the way to the end. I didn't take notes, I didn't do anything. I just wanted to understand what was ahead of me. And I read through it. Now, as a leader, as a visionary, there are two ways you always need to be going through. You need to go broad reach. So you need to have your broad top line vision in your mind, and then you need to delve into the details. That's what sort of helps you as you're moving rapidly. Rapid execution means that as you're able to keep one eye on where you're going. We're not here for the short term. We're not here
yes.
for 2022. We're not here for this decade, unless we're not here for this season. We're here for the long haul. So remember, rapid execution helps you. You have to remember that there are many iterations of whatever it is that you're producing, and I'll illustrate that a bit deeper. When I came into Visionary Compass, and I'll go back to the execution blueprints in a minute. When I came into Visionary Compass, I said to I'd put in my application very detailed what I wanted to do. I had the ESTA curriculum, I had everything. I just wrote it down there. I was very clear. I was just coming in to build these things out and go very quickly. In the course of just following through the process, having many iterations, being quick to move, failing quickly. And I know some of us have heard that phrase of fail quickly or fail forward. And we're always like, I don't want to fail at all, right? We will fail, we will make mistakes. We'll make mistakes. But in that process of you failing quickly and failing forward, you learn what not to do. You learn
Yeah.
what your audience doesn't like. You learn what doesn't quite suit your vision. When I started, I wanted to coach all women, everybody that was a woman, because my heart just burned for women. So just give me women, let's be going. But I was burning out because that wasn't really my sweet spot. Then I iterated again. And we said, okay, let's streamline just a little bit. And I was doing the ESTA curriculum. I was saying, okay, let's do this. I still had another mastermind. I still had another thing. We're doing some things over here and there. And then the vision became clearer. Remember, we're moving. You're creating, like Biola was saying, structures that you need. And structure is not a buzzword. If you want to execute rapidly, quickly for the long term in a way that makes sense, you need to be so diligent about this thing called structure and systems in your life, right? So all of that was ongoing. And then there was a day that everything just sort of came together. And I saw what it was. I saw how the Refined Ladies School fits perfectly into all of these things.
Everything.
Everything. It all just came together beautifully and it made sense. I wouldn't have been able to get to this point if I didn't start. And I wouldn't have been able to start if I didn't have a guide to follow. And that's what that execution blueprint did for me. The execution blueprint challenges you to look at certain parts of your vision depending on where you are. So for build, depending on whether you're clarify, your launch, your build, or your scale. For build, it's telling me, for example, look at your people. And I'm sure my people were just like, what is this woman doing in this season? Because we tried all sorts. Some people got queries, some people got encouragement. I was like, we must crack this people thing. So it helps you dig deep. Look at your people, look at your structure, look at your actual vision, look at your, how are you documenting? Check out your finances. Hmm, Let me
Yes.
get into that one. You
Don't worry, we'll go there.
yeah, check your finances, all these other types of things. And then it helps you bring it all together into something that works for you at the end of the day.
Yes, and I think there are several things that you touched on that I would just reiterate here, right? It's first around trusting the process, because many people could hear the word rapid and they're like, it's like noodles, microwave, put it in and it comes out. But even in that rapid execution, there is still a process, right? And that process allows you to build for the long haul. Because I mean, like you said, we're not building for, it's not about 2022, it's about the decade, it's about 20 years to come, it's about legacy. And then you also talked about, I mean, failing forward, failing quickly, being a part of that process. And I think failure is something that many of us have not been taught how to handle, right?
Mm,
I mean,
mm-hmm.
right from when we were children, mindset is failure is bad. We were never, our minds have been conditioned to see failure as bad, but never as a learning opportunity. But clearly, as part of rapid execution, that conditioning has to change. We have to begin to see that there is a good way to fail that actually helps us to execute better. All right. So now we're going to talk a bit about making room in your life, to execute rapidly. And I know this ties back to systems, but maybe if you could share very specific tips. And the reason why, I mean, from your bio, you do many things, you wear many hats, however we want to describe it, right? And this is a challenge that I know many people have. Like, how do I find room? This is burning on my heart. This vision is burning on my heart, but how do I, but I cannot seem to, do it. I have a 9 to 5, I have a family, I have this commitment and all. So for you, what's that process like before you say yes to the vision, before you go ahead to start to execute?
So when we say we don't have time, I usually counter by saying we make time for the things that are important to us. Yeah. And I would go a bit deeper, but first off, I want that to be in our minds. We make time for the things that are truly important to us. If I check anybody, and there was a time I had a mastermind with 30 ladies in it, and I told them, I said, okay, they say, oh, we don't have time, Lady B, we don't have time, all of these things, we don't have time. I'm saying, okay, do a time audit. Number one, I challenge everyone here, do a time audit. And what's a time audit? I want you to just monitor how you use your time during the week. When you wake up what time you wake up in the morning, what time you go to bed at night, how much time you spend watching TV, how much time you spend on social media, how much time you spend cooking, how much time you spend working, how much time you spend on the phone gisting with your friends, all of that, good stuff and bad stuff. Just put everything together. Just make a note of it. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on paper. At the end of a week, 1 week, I want you to look at your that paper, and you will see how much time you actually have.
Yeah.
The first thing that helped me break this construct of time, Bisola, was the fact that I realized the people that were doing the things that I genuinely wanted to do had the same 24 hours that I do. No one has 48 hours in a 24-hour day. We all have 24 hours. So we make time for what we want to make time for. That's the first thing. I started off on this journey in 2019. This was pre COVID. I live in Lagos, but at the time I used to live in Shongotedo, which is further up Lekki axis, and I used to work in Ido, which is on the mainland.
Oh wow.
Exactly. My transit time on a good day would be upwards of 2 hours. On a bad day, I could be on that road one way, just in one direction, probably up to 4 hours.
Wow.
That is on a good day. Maybe I'm spending 4 hours in total on the road. On a bad day, I'm spending maybe 6 hours on the road. What are you doing with those 6 hours? Some people spend the 6 hours on social media. Some spend the 6 hours watching a movie, and I did that stuff. But I also spent it reading extensively and watching things that could grow me, YouTube videos, all of that. There were some seasons where my life was so full. When I listen to things when I'm having a shower in the morning, and I hope this is not TMI, but we're family, so I'm going to tell you anyhow. I take my phone and put it in my bathroom, and I put the volume on loud. And as I'm having a shower, I'm listening to whatever it is I'm listening to. Something is sticking. When I'm dressing up, I'm listening to stuff. I'm playing stuff that gets me in the mood. So those little things. Now, initially, every season is different. Some people might not have hours to sit down and delve into what it is. You don't need hours. You might have 5 minutes rather to use. Can you hear me? Am I still here?
Yes, go ahead. We lost you
Okay.
for a bit, but you're back.
Okay, great. So you might not have hours. You might have 5 minutes. You might have 10 minutes. What are you using that to do? So the first thing is you're doing your time audit. The second thing is taking that into consideration. You ask yourself, where are my buckets of time?
Yeah.
How disciplined am I with how I spend my time? So for me, I had to become extremely disciplined with the time I wake up in the morning because I'm highly productive in the morning. I attended this thing the other day, neuroscience of personal performance. And out of the many great things they were talking about the brain, he was saying how you have a maximum of 4 hours of peak performance. If you do not know yourself well enough, remember Biola was saying you have to know yourself, and Bisola was saying it as well. You have to know yourself and understand yourself. And that's one of the first things we get into if you enter Clarify, the clarity
Yes.
way of VCAP, isn't it? Yeah, you get to know yourself. So you know that you're a morning person, you're an afternoon person, or you're an evening person. If you're a morning person and you wake up in the morning and the first hour of your day you spend it on your emails, on social media, you've lost an hour or 4 hours of productive time. So you're now battling with 3 hours for everything else. Right? So, do you know yourself well enough? I am a morning person. So, when I'm creating stuff, when I was writing a book, when I'm doing all of those things, you know what I do? I wake up at like 3 a.m. in the morning. Or sometimes I enter a second phase from about 11 p.m., midnight, and I just go.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you can just
Yes.
go until maybe 3 or 4 a.m. Then I can now start going to bed when my
Yeah.
energy levels are dropping. And I
Yeah.
knew this right from university, but I didn't get what it was. I didn't understand
Yes.
what it was, right? So there's that. You have to, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it was when you talked about knowing this right from university, but you didn't know what it was. I think, and it just struck me that it's actually one thing to have that level of self awareness, it's another thing to know
Yes.
how to apply it even in your journey, even in that process. So you knew it many years ago, but you only began to apply it recently and then start to see the results. And I mean that is just amazing. So there is a question. So there are two questions. One question that apparently I had missed. So I'll come to that second. The first is how do you build time for rest when you're rapidly executing and optimizing time?
This is a big one. First, you operate from a place of rest. I don't know how else to say this matter. So as we're
Yes.
doing, as we're doing all the stuff, as you're building, because you can't burn out. And I think Biola spoke to this as well, didn't she? If
Yes, you
you
did.
if you can't rapidly execute 365 days a year, you're gonna burn out, right? And remember, we said you're building for the long haul, you're executing for the long haul, you're going where we're going is still far, the distance is still long. So, what I do, and I'll speak from my perspective here, what I do is that in my calendar, I have scheduled time for relaxation. On Saturday, I spent about 3 or 4 hours in a spa getting pampered. You can see my spa is just in me. I love spa. I was just there. I was getting a hammam, whatever, whatever, and getting scrubbed and getting massage. And I just emerged like I can face the world again. You need to
Yes.
build that time deliberately into your schedule. It's
Yeah.
important. And know what recharges you. You might not be a spa person. You might like reading books. I love reading books. Whatever it is, but deliberately look for, don't wait until things are free. Things will never be free for you to rest. But you have to have a system, because when we're rested, and I think this was also from this neuroscience, there were another neuroscience thing. When you're rested is when you get your best ideas. The top
Yes.
5 places or so to develop your insights and to get ideas from is number one, when you are lying down, the few moments before you go to bed. So when you're lying down, those few minutes before you sleep, the few minutes before you wake up, that's one place. The second place is when you're in the shower. The third place is when you are traveling, so when you're in a plane going somewhere. I think I need to go on a vacation because I need some. So all of these places, but notice that these places, when you're meditating in solitude, is a big thing. And if you're a visionary or someone that has something in your heart, you must be focused with creating time for solitude. You can't always have
Mm,
things on. You can't always be on your devices. You can't always have the TV blaring in the background. We
yeah.
live in a world that is always on. And if you live in a metropolitan city anywhere around the world, you're always on. So you need to have that time in your space where you switch off and everything is silent so that you can even hear yourself and hear your thoughts. And you have to schedule that in. So be disciplined as you're scheduling everything else. Be
Everything
scheduling
else.
first before everything else.
Mm. And that's interesting, right? Because the second question here, so the one I think this was from when Biola was speaking, is is the self-care routine like a reward to yourself? So should you treat self-care routine as a reward?
See, even before you finish speaking, I'm already shaking my head. And I see DDK is in the house. Hey, I'm just saying,
Yay!
of course, of course. Okay, let me stop. Let me stop. Let me not do that. But self care is not a reward. A reward for what? Self care is a reward for you being. You take care of yourself because if you don't, you can't pour out efficiently to other people. You can't
Indeed.
build in other places if you're not sufficiently filled. You can't pour from a cup that's empty. If you're not taking care of yourself, you become irritable a lot faster. You're short of ideas. You give up easier because everything just seems like it's a lot. So
Yes.
self-care is you giving service to the world. It's how you serve yourself. It's how you honor the gift of yourself. That's self-care. And I
Yes.
know we've made it very, and there's self-care that is like selfishness. So that's not what we're talking about. But there's a system that you have to create where from that place of you caring for yourself, it's just how you honor the gifts that you're carrying. It's how you honor where you're going on the long term, and don't make it an expensive thing. Self-care for me sometimes is just lighting this my lovely lavender candle over there and curling up with a cup of tea. That's self-care. Whatever just
Mhm.
recharges you, make those moments every day, every day. Yes.
Every single day, and being disciplined, I mean being disciplined about it the same way you're disciplined about everything else. So welcome, DDK. I mean, when we started the session, someone asked in the comments like, where's DDK, where's DDK, and I'm like, so thank you for being here. There's something that she says, right, that you want to design a life that you don't need a vacation from, right? It always rings. It literally always rings in my ears. And every single time, I think about it and I'm like, yes, I want that life that I don't need to say I'm taking a vacation, taking a vacation away from it. So please, whatever questions you have, let's keep putting them in the chat box. Lady Bodam is here to answer all your questions. All your questions, yes. But while we're waiting for questions to come, Bodam, I still have some.
Okay.
Um, so on this journey of execution, I mean, without a doubt, there are hurdles, there are potholes, there are speed bumps, and all sorts. So how do you typically, I mean, how do you advise that people manage it from your own journey?
Begin again every day. I know it seems like an easy answer, but that's pretty much what it is. Initially, so my personality type, my natural personality type, I'm a long-term planner. I'm not really a flexible person. I saw something on Instagram today that okay, I know that we're going with the flow, but can you tell me exactly the time the flow starts? Like let us that is me. I want to plan, every almost every
Everything.
moment of every day. I want to just be going. Then if
Yeah.
something goes, I just get very irritated. But I've realized that holds me back ultimately, right? That holds me back. So long term, I've learned more to begin again every day. Every day is a new opportunity. It's a new 24 hours for me to go. So I failed yesterday. I didn't live up to my routine. I didn't exercise. I didn't read the books I was meant to read. I didn't, spend time in prayer. Whatever it is, fine. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is not yet here. Today is what I have. So when I wake up again in the morning, I make that commitment again to myself that start again today, give today
Yeah.
your best,
Yes.
and then move on. So that's how
Yes.
I don't overthink it. And women in general, we tend to overthink things, and we tend to, we're so much in our heads. So we're overthinking, we're beating ourselves for the mistakes we made 1,000,001 years ago. When we fail, we're like, oh my goodness, I knew I could never amount to all these things. No, just get yourself out of the overthinking thing and say, it's a new slate. We're gonna move.
Indeed. Indeed. It's basically keep showing up. Keep showing up, pick yourself back up and keep showing up. Okay, so you have two questions, Lady Buddha. First one is from DDK. Did you ever doubt your ability to become the person you are today? How did you and how do you navigate those self-doubt experiences?
Trust a professor to come with professorship kind of question. She couldn't ask me,
JDK asks the best
she
questions,
just
like
knows, bro.
literally.
She just has a gift. It's a gift that she has.
Yes.
Did I ever doubt the ability to become the person I am today? Yes. 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 you know. Um, and I think, how do I navigate those self-doubt experiences? Okay, let me backtrack a bit. Did I ever doubt the ability to become the person I am today? Yes. Do I sometimes doubt the ability to become the person I've seen I need to become in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time? Yes, because it's a huge vision. And if it's not bigger than you and if it doesn't scare you, maybe you're playing a bit too safe. So,
Mm,
yeah, in 2019, could I have, by any chance, seen me today? I didn't have a clue, not a clue. But as it opened up and I thought, okay, this is possible, let's go. Fine, we went. So that's the one thing. Your vision is bigger than you. It will scare
yeah.
you. I doubted many times. How did I navigate those self doubt experiences? One is I acknowledge that they were there. I'm going to share a story. I don't know if she's going to pinch me later, but I'm going to share it anyway because we're family, isn't it? Let me know. Should I share it? Put in the comment section.
Please.
Should I share it? Are you sure? Should I
Please.
share it? Because I know you're telling me. I want to know if they want to really know.
See,
I should share it.
ladies and gentlemen, please let her know. Share,
I'll
share,
tell
share.
you the story. So let me tell you what happened. There was a day when I think I had a coaching session with DDK. And I said, okay, I told her some things, and she said, okay, this. And then I was driving home. And on the way home, I just got like, sometimes if you've ever sat in a room with DDK or if you've ever listened to a coaching call, sometimes it's after the coaching call. something just hits you like light. Has it happened to
Yes.
anyone here? Yeah.
Yes.
I was driving home and this epiphany, this insight just sort of hits me like, my goodness, this is what it is. And I remember I sent her a message. I said, DDK, I just got this sort of light right now about this issue. And it's, I was just thinking this. And then she asked me, she said, talk to me. Is this something you battle with? Now, typical me, I had started typing, not not at all. And then the next line she says was, be honest. And
Mm,
I paused for a second and I said, well, sometimes just before I go to bed at night, or when things are not going so well, and I don't know if she even remembers, or early hours of the morning, I battle with A, B, C, D, E. The first step to sort of getting out of those self-doubt experiences is acknowledging that the emotion is there. Acknowledging, labeling is what they call it, is what they call it, right? They say label the
label.
emotion. Mhm.
Yes.
So it's labeling that right now I'm afraid, right now I'm insecure, right now I'm filled with self-doubt, right now I don't think this is possible. That's the first thing. Label it. The second thing is have the trusted circles. And this is, I'm just telling, I'm sharing with you things that I have done. Have trusted circles that you can share with. I have sisters. And it's important for you to have, remember again, we're saying get in the right communities so that you can borrow the belief of others.
Yes.
There is that one. You have to be there. Get in the right communities. So I had those communities where I could go to and be like, hey, um, I might not even really share the full thing of, okay, this is what I'm feeling, but maybe I'll just say, oh, today is not a good day. And immediately there's a flood of affirmation.
Mm,
Today, I'll give you an example. This morning, I woke up and I want to put out something, and I've been thinking a lot in my mind that, oh, am I sure about this? Am I sure about this? And out of the blue, I got this beautiful WhatsApp message from someone I haven't spoken to in ages, affirming me. She just sent
amazing.
me, she actually brought tears to my eyes this morning, right? Um, but it's important for you to have those places you can go to be affirmed. For people
Yes.
who see the you that sometimes you struggle to see,
Yeah.
it's critical. Your coach
Yes.
needs to be able to affirm you, your friends need to be able to affirm you, and you also need to be that affirming voice to someone else. It's not a one-way street.
Mm,
I think those two things are critical. Then the third is go to the root cause of that doubt. Why are
mm,
you doubting yourself in this case? Is it that there's a lack of knowledge there? How can you now build up on the knowledge so that you feel competent and confident in that area? Is it that there is, what is it that's, underneath every self doubt, there's usually a root cause. So maybe I don't think my voice is relevant here. Why? Do I think I don't have enough knowledge about this topic to speak about? Okay, now you have your plan over the next 3 months. What am I going to do to grow in the knowledge in this area? And like that,
yeah.
that's what I've done, and that helps. It doesn't mean it's not going to come round. Bear in mind, I say this all the time, ladies, you will sometimes have trigger points. Your
Yes.
triggers are things that take you back to places you thought you were rid of. I have my triggers that when something happens, it just throws me back. But because now I'm so aware that these things are trigger points, I'm like, okay, great. When it's coming, I already know. And I'm like, but this throws you off, so you're able to stop. Does that help?
I believe it does. It helped me. I mean, those are so amazing, amazing answers. Now, there's something that you mentioned that I want us to talk about a bit. So, we talked about the banquet that was VCAP. So, we're going to go there just a little bit more. You talked about the coaching calls with the lead coach, right? And how many times, I mean, I don't know if it was just me, but I come out of those sessions feeling like I could take on the world,
Yes.
right? I could take on the world. And again, it reinforces the importance of not just community, but having that mentor, coach, the person who has gone ahead of you, to basically speak and affirm you, encourage you, show you the things that are, the things that are possible. So if you think about your rapid execution journey, what roles did those calls the VCAP ones particularly, what role did they play for you?
Let me tell you, I'm going to say from a story I was telling someone yesterday. So I had a group of young mentees who reached out to me yesterday, and they were saying, Lady B, we want to ask you some questions about DDK. That we just got an email with all of her programs through, and we want to know, what did she tell you? What did she tell you? Because and they were all just messaging me. And I said something to them that I'm going to repeat today. There is power when you find a coach that, for want of a better word, makes the baby within you leap,
Yes.
right? There's something. If you are blessed and lucky enough to find that type of coach and that type of community, it shortens your journey, and it rapidly propels you in the direction of where you're meant to go. Me, I knew very hard. Chisholm, what will happen in VCAP? Hey, my goodness.
Whoosh, that
You
whoosh
you need to
describes
get
it.
in to find out. Before I can tell you, you need to get in to find out. But the first time I met with DDK, and I'll speak about the VCAP coaching course. The first time I met with DDK, I just thought, my goodness, this possibility matter. Wow. She demonstrated like possibility to me. I'm thinking, okay, this is amazing. Then I finally got into VCAP in 2021. 122, yes, 2021. And then we started. Every coaching call, I still have my notes from every single coaching call. It was like bright light was shone in my brain, for want of a better word, right? It was like bright light. And the nuggets, it wasn't things that you would and I'm not, honestly, ladies, if you know me, I can be a bit of a straight talker. So I'm not even here trying to gas up DDK so that maybe she'll give me a discount on I don't know what, right? It's not even about that. I'm not here just to speak so that I can, just be like, these sweet things we women do. But I'm just a DDK sweet. No, that's not even what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you to understand that there's a level of wisdom that we would go away from. It was not just a Bodam thing. Almost every single person. Sometimes we would finish because I had a little community of VCAPers that we were in. Sometimes we'll finish from the coaching course and we'll go there and just be like, my goodness, we've been sleeping. A few things happen to me after every coaching call without exception. The first is, if I'd been dropping the balls on my vision before then, I received new fire to sort of
Yeah.
begin again. I caught a new belief because she genuinely believed in each and every one of the VCAPers that were there.
Yes.
She genuinely believed each of us were relevant in this time and in this season, genuinely believed in the vision each and every one of us carried. And you could see that from the way she would speak about it, the way she would, use practical examples. And that was the second thing. I was not going away with high sounding professorship kind of conversations that didn't have practical relevance. I would go away with practical tips that I could put into practice from that night that would be able to, push something in my vision forward. Sometimes as
Yes.
she's speaking, I'm just receiving clarity on something else. Sometimes she's
Yeah.
giving personal examples and it's answering questions that I didn't even know I had. All of
Yes.
those things. And remember, we had a coaching call every month times
Yes.
12 months. Then we had the
Yes.
coaching retreats.
All day. It was a
All
lot.
day.
It
It
was
was
a lot. Yeah,
it
it was a lot.
was a lot.
Okay. Yeah, it was a banquet. All right. So we have a number of questions which I'll go through.
Okay.
Um, so one question, this is from Somi. She says, or I presume she says, Lady Bodam, how are you able to do all this even with your corporate job? I sort of feel guilty being having a 9 to 5, and then I want to grow in the corporate world and public service.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, fantastic. Thank you for asking this question, Somi. Now, the first thing is you are more than your corporate work. I'm not
Yeah.
asking you to leave your corporate work. I'm still in corporate world, right? But you are more than your corporate world because you're a 360-degree kind of individual. So the solutions that you have burning on the inside of you may not just be for the corporate space, and that's fine. Yes, it's for everything. I think the first thing I would say is I had to recognize there was more to me than just the brands I was building. I had to see, and that's what I would say to you, Somi. First, you have to actually see yourself as you are, as a 360 individual. Then second, there were nights I would go with very little sleep because I'm trying to build something in service of my vision. And Biola said it the other day as well. There is something that there's sometimes I'm studying, lunch break in the office, I'm using it. Transit time to and from work, I'm using it. I became extremely selfish, for want of a better word, with my time because where prior I could just be working, until whatever time, now I had other things I was working on. So
Yes.
all this weekend stuff that, sometimes they're like, oh, can you just do something? I'm like, oh no, I'm not available on the weekend. I have things I'm doing. I would
Mm-hmm.
book my annual leave around times to service other things that I have to do. I have a speaking engagement somewhere. I take a day off work. I have days off work to take. So I take it
Yes.
off and move, right?
Yes.
I have virtual engagements. I book them in the evenings, or I say I'm going to start work late that day. I book them earlier on in the day and do that, right? All of these type of things. But first it came with that realization that, Budam, there's more to you than just working for a corporate organization and building these wonderful brands that you're so good at. And that's the first thing you need to realize, Somi. Who are you? And what is the gift that you carry on the inside of you that our world needs? And from there, you begin to work everything out one step at a time.
Amazing. And when I saw the question, one of the things that came to mind was the fact that in the VCAP core curriculum, there is actually the module or subtract that talks about multi-influential flow, and it just answers this question. Okay, so there's another question here that says, how do I rapidly execute if I don't have all the resources I need? Um, so I have the vision and I'm ready to put in the work, but I don't have all the tools I think I need.
Hmm. So I wish I had a bit more information on this one, but I would sort of speak to this from a generic point of view. If you don't have all the resources you think you need, there's always one step you can take today. And I think
Yes.
DDK used to say that in VCAP. Sometimes when she's doing some declarations at the end of the retreats, guys, let me not give you this expo too much. Sweet. But there's something that she said. There's something she said, and I hope I quote it correctly. But she said something along the lines of, um, she was sort of making a declaration as she was praying that day. I said something along the lines of, Holy Spirit, show them the next most profitable step to take. Right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. She always
There
prays that.
is, yes, always praise that prayer. There is one step you can take today in service of your vision. You might not have, I, for example, I think that I honestly genuinely think that to progress my vision, I think that I need a BMW 7 Series. I genuinely really believe it, but pending when it comes. Okay, I'm teasing, let me be serious. You but there's something you can do today. There's a little,
Yeah.
little, teeny, weeny step you can take
Yes.
today that will take you one step forward. And remember, as you take the different steps forward, gradually, day by day, it starts coming together. And when you even take that step forward, you're sending a signal into the world that you're ready for what it is. It's almost like, okay, let me not become spooky now, but you're sending a signal into the realm that you're ready now for what you were made ready for.
Indeed.
Before you know it, partners start coming to you. Before you know it, you start attracting resources from the vision. There was something DDK said once in VCAP as well. I think she was talking about resource magnetism. Now I can't remember if it was in VCAP. It was VCAP, wasn't it? And she was
Yes.
saying what you need is not money, for example. What you
I was
need
going to say
is focus.
that.
So write out what you actually need. And
Yes.
then you see the things coming to you. You might not get the money to get the thing, but you will get the thing. which is what is, quite critical and important. And I think, just to say, again, in recap, there was a whole day we had that during the retreat. We all wrote out what we needed and we pasted it on this board, and everybody went around and just providing solutions to each of our fellow VCAPers, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So
Yes, it
take a
was.
step today. Ask for wisdom for the next step you need to take, and take that step today.
Yeah. And I mean, I think just to mention, aside from the resource magnetism, was also the principle of the ask to
Yes,
remember.
yes,
So being
yes.
clear on what you need and also be bold enough to ask. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. I see one there up on the screen. So, what about if your friends don't understand the journey you're on and they don't understand the sacrifices you have to make? So, this is Ifeshola, because you did mention something about saying no to some engagements at times.
They'll catch up. I'm seeing a question there on okay, but I'll speak to that one separately. They will
Yeah.
catch. Let me tell you, initially, I'm gonna tell you something. Are we safe? Should I tell you guys a secret?
Please, 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 please.
Don't tell anybody I told you. I had a friend. I have beloved sisters. I've had friends for 15 years and 18 years and 20 years and 7 years. I just have long friendships like that. And then I have my newer sisters as well who are in my life and they're never going anywhere. But that's by the way, right? So when I first of all started this whole coaching thing, I was entering this coaching matter. Let's do this. Oh, I'm in this coaching thing. And then because I had tunnel vision, I
Mm,
knew that my coach had something for me. And I knew that I wanted to draw out everything that my coach had for me. So she would show up somewhere, I'm there to hear the she's teaching somewhere, I'm streaming in to hear what it is that she's saying. She's showing up on the ones that concerned me. She's going to teach social development. I didn't have any business with. I would just stream there and just be looking at her and see that there's something, even if it's how she's engaging the audience, there's something there to take away, right? So there was that. And then you know what someone told me once? She was like, Bodam, don't you think you're being a bit too almost like fanatical over this dedicate? Like, what is it about this dedicate thing? I think isn't it a bit too much? I said, I do think so. He said, take it easy, that, sometimes, with leaders, gave me a really wonderful motivational speech that I thanked the Lord for. And I thanked her profusely for as well. And then I went right on to do my other things that I first class dedicate, first class. I have it in me. It's in my blood, right?
yeah.
I chased her. She didn't have, I'm unashamed about it. Chased her relentlessly. Anyway, but eventually, when the proof of your life starts speaking, they
Yes.
understand. Because remember, your friends really want to keep you safe. The same thing with your family. They want to keep you safe. They want you to they don't want you to be taken advantage of. They don't want you to be abused. Remember all these things? They're trying to keep you safe. But sometimes our friends and our family can keep us so safe that we don't become significant. Am I quoting DDK again? I think I did this so well now. You know,
Perfect.
they keep us so safe that we can't become significant. So keep on going, try and carry them along, explain to them what you're learning, all of these types of things. But remember that everybody's life journey is different.
Yes, it
All of
is.
our life journeys are very different. And how you will get to your destination is different from how your friend will get to their destination. So keep your eye on the prize. And eventually, today, my friends know me. Oh, DDK, so just leave her, let her be going. Just leave her. Everybody is aligned and they will catch up. They will
They
catch up.
will, they will. So there are, well, two questions. I'll just take them together. So one
Okay.
is, how do you make sure that you are not sacrificing quality for time when you're rapidly executing? Um, Yeah, okay. Yeah, how do you make sure you're not sacrificing quality? Yes, when you're rapidly executing. And then I think the second question ties back to, and we had this conversation earlier around personality. So if Shola says that, how do I rapidly execute if my personality isn't one that has a bias for action? I'm a thinker. So how do I overcome this natural tendency towards overanalyzing and not making quick action?
Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to answer the second question first. Quality over time. Quality over time. Now, first off, when we say rapid execution, we're not saying you're going to send out nonsense or you're going to send out rubbish. There is for everybody, every visionary, actually every human being, forget whether you right now you think you're a visionary or not. Every human being should have a minimum standard of excellence that we expect from you.
Yes.
So people should know that when they communicate with Bisola or when they communicate with Olushola Banjo, there's a minimum standard of expectation that they should get from you. Rapidly executing, rapid execution doesn't drop that minimum standard of expectation. You should, the spirit of excellence is not something that you pick and choose when you're going to bring it forth and when you're going to drop it down. No. Ifeshola, Gina, I was going to say that. I was like, Ifeshola came for me. She actually, I was just thinking, oh my goodness, let me begin to ask for extra wisdom because you, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You know, so there's that. That minimum standard of excellence, that minimum standard of rapid execution to go. Okay, it's how we expect your rapid execution to go. So we're not saying that you should drop your quality because you want to move fast. Remember, we're building for the long haul. So even when we say move
Yes.
fast, remember that moving fast doesn't mean you're doing things in one day. For somebody, rapid execution might be producing something quality in 3 months. For somebody else, rapid execution might be a 2 weeks turnaround time. But what rapid execution really means at its core is that you're taking consistent daily steps quickly to birth what has been placed in your heart. You're moving with the momentum of the energy that comes with the force of the idea that comes, right? And there is a module in VCAP where DDK says it a lot more eloquently than I've said it right now. So, you can sign up and get it. I'm giving you the pirated version. But there's that. So that spirit of excellence is what guards you against. We know when we're putting out work that's subpar. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I know when I'm putting
Yes.
out something that is not up to Bodam standard, I'm like, Bodam, this is not it. You already know this is not it. Either recall it or leave it or reiterate or do it after you had some sleep. So we all
Yes.
know the thing that's on the inside of us. So that's what helps with the quality versus time. Then the second thing I would say was around thinking
Personality.
versus doing. Yes, personality, thinking versus doing. Now, I'm a thinker. Despite what everybody else, I'm personality type, who I really am. I'm 88% melancholic and I am 12% phlegmatic, right? My energy colors are green and blue. I am just leave me there. Let me be thinking and let me be slow. If you tend to ask me things, I didn't get it initially. But many years ago, if you ask me and you push me to make a decision about something very quickly, my first thing is no. I would say no because you've pushed me to the wall and I'm like, no, right? But sometimes we have to rise above our personality. We get to know our personality so we know how to work our personality. And what helps when you're a heavy thinker, it's having little action things that you can do. I didn't wake up one day and decide that, you know what, I'm going to write a book and let me just go. That book would never have been written. But I sat with my epic coach, right? And, drew up this blueprint that told me what I needed to do every day, the number of times that I needed to show up every day, the number of words I needed to write every day, the topic that I needed to write on every day, step by step. If you're a thinker, don't you think of the big picture. If you're like me, I've dreamt of, the vision 40 years from now. I've seen it panoramic across everywhere. I'm still thinking. We can be thinking from now till eternity. But thinkers don't change much. It's people who do that actually
Yes.
change the world.
Yes.
So when I think, and sometimes you recharge by thinking, by imagining, and that's great. So sit down into your thinking cap and get your energy from there. See the vision clearly. You should be great at visualization if you're a thinker because you can see with the mind of your eye or the eye of your mind, whichever one is correct, right? So you're there visualizing and you get the energy. When you do, just take one small step. Don't think of two steps. Don't think of 5 steps. No, 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 it's too much. Just take one small step. The one small step can be pick up the phone and make a phone call. It can be write that email. I remember I overthought a thing. I'm going to share this example and then I'll stop here. I was trying to, we'd finished Live Awake Conference 2020, 2020, I believe, or 2021, the virtual one, Live Awake Conference 2020. Toast to me. Okay, but I'll focus. We finished Live Awake Conference 2021. And in that conference, there was, I'd met someone there, and sort of I was talking and I was speaking with my RM. And I said, oh, the door was sort of open to enter, maybe eventually when I need something. My RM was like, RM is resident mentor, by the way, in VCAP language. So if you're a cool VCAPper, you know what RM means. It's resident mentor. So I was speaking to my resident mentor. She was like, what are you saying? Reach out today. I said, no, now. What am I reaching out for? What am I reaching out to say? I don't really like, I like people respecting my space. I want to respect people. I want to, I don't want to abuse acts. She was like, what are you? She was okay, listen. Today, Bodam, listen to me. Just do 3 things. She gave me 3 tasks that I remember. The first was to send an Instagram message to someone, to this person. The second was to send off an email to this another person. And the third was to finish an Excel sheet. She says, I'm not asking you for anything else this weekend, but by midnight tonight, I need you to give me progress updates on these things. I'm an overthinker. I overanalyze. I try and think, how will people feel when I do A, B, C, D? How will they think when I show all these things? I think about it in my mind. But because she helped me break down to just 3 things I needed to do, I did those things. I did it at 11:59, but I did it anyway. And I sent them through. And that helped. I hope that helps you as well, Professor.
Well, those were very helpful tips, right? So even if it's just one small step, as long as that step is taking you in the right direction. So Bodam, there's a question here that I would want us to take. So this is from Teresa. She says, I'm a medical doctor currently doing my residency program. She's a mom of 2. Some days I work 36 hours shift. I have a major exam coming up in 4 months. Would I be able to keep up because of the intensity of VCAP? I mean, to share your experience, I'm happy to share mine as well.
Wow. Did we not have a medical doctor on this last? We
We
did,
did.
didn't we?
Yes, we
Did.
did. Yes.
And the reason I remember that is sometimes she would join us from the hospital, and she had like her, it was COVID, right? So she had her cap there and she had her things, and she was right there in the middle of COVID. And honestly, let me tell you something. I want you to think of VCAP as your investment in yourself. Now, it might not be right for everybody at every point in time. You know the schedules of your time a lot more. I encourage you to send an email so you can send an email, and maybe someone can help me pop an email into the chat box, or go to the website. It will give you a lot more detail in terms of the actual time that you need to commit every week to see. But remember that it's also a 1 year program, it's not a 4 month program, right? So
Yes.
it's an annual thing. If you're busy, thank you very much. So there's info at myvisionarycompass.com. Please reach out and so you can see how you can streamline this around the work that you do. Will
Yes.
time ever ease off? Will you ever stop becoming a medical doctor? No, that's your career and your calling, right? But think of VCAP as an investment in you, the you that our world needs. The reason you're probably even considering VCAP is that there's a stirring on the inside of you as we're speaking to something that is there, which you want to birth, but maybe you're not quite sure how you should do that. So I can't tell you right now, yes or no, whether you'll be able to keep up or not be able to keep up. But please, Teresa, send this email. I have had busy seasons while I was in VCAP where it seemed like I couldn't do anything. Work was, for want of a better word, hellish, right? I had deadlines upon deadlines and all the balls would drop. And I think everybody had that sort of story. But
Yes.
because we had that community, because we had that accountability, we had RMs who could tell us, look, listen, all you have to do, don't even go anywhere, just don't do anything this week, focus on this. It helps you to reduce the overwhelm. But this is an investment in your destiny for the long haul and your destiny for the future is what I would say. This is what you think.
I mean, I think you said it. You said it all. When I did VCAP last year, I mean, in retrospect, I'm like, what was I thinking, right? So my study times were usually 10 p.m. to 12 midnight for when the core curriculum drops. And it was also quite tough. There were seasons where I felt like I was dropping the ball. But like Bodam had talked about, right, you make time for the things that are important to you. So when you see it as an investment, whether you have to burn the midnight candle, whether you have to sleep a little less, whether you have to say, I mean, yes, it was COVID, but during that period, I don't even think I went for any wedding or anything, literally, literally. So it's about how do I make room for it? But again, we can't answer that question absolutely. We can only offer tips and suggestions from our stories. Please send the email, and the team is more than happy to provide any additional support.
Can I
Um,
just say something, Bisola, just
yes.
before you go on? You know, Bisola just said now because she's all here being humble, right? So she just said now how this year was, she was like in retrospect, she shouldn't have done it. She felt like the ball was dropping. She felt like A, she felt like B. And I'm just looking at her, like, eh? So if the ball were not dropping, how would you have been? Ladies and gentlemen, to the VCAP class of 2021 class valedictorian. Do you know what it means for you to
Yay!
be valedictorian for a program that is run by a professor? No, stop, Ma. Please don't insult some of us. We will take it. So yes, I think
Yeah.
you make time for what
Yeah,
you make.
yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. Yes, and I mean it was overall an amazing experience. An amazing, amazing experience. But I mentioned two things that we're going to end with. If there are no other questions, comments, and all, but we're going to start rounding down. She talked about excellence, right? And she talked about that one step that you need to take. So the one step we would be encouraging you to take today is to go again to this website for My Visionary Compass. Applications are open, right? So let that be the one step that you would take on your visionary journey today. So go there, read what the program is about, learn a bit more about the banquet that our lead coach has prepared for you, just so that you get a feel of all that of all the amazing things that you're going to learn, the support that you're going to get, right? And the other bit is excellence. Please, the application is not a joke. But do you remember?
Are you, do you know I have my application saved? I actually have my application saved. And
Yes.
initially, when I saw the application form, something was like, oh, let me just do it quickly. But because I knew the person I was dealing with, I had a bit of an understanding. So I said, no, but I'm take it easy and wait for a while and apply.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I waited and then I filled in the application form. Virtue left me. Guys, I'm not
Mm,
even joking. Like I felt like something, even let me tell you what it does. Even sitting down to fill that application. I don't know. Have they changed the application this year? Can someone let us know? Is it still there? It's still there. You've checked
it's
it. It's
still
still
there. It's
there.
still
Okay.
there.
When you write the application, when you fill it out the way it is, there were some times when I felt like I wasn't doing what I was called to do. I would go back and read the reason I entered VCAP.
In
I
the
would
first
go back.
place.
My application form is saved on my Evernote even till now. And I would go back and read it. And I would read the hope and the desire of that girl who sent in that application. And it gives me the impetus to continue. I seem to like this word today, impetus, right? To continue. The second thing I would say, me, I initially, when I was, even though I put in all my efforts to fill the application with a lot of prayers, asking for special wisdom, all of that, I just thought, okay, still application, no, that's fine. It's DDK now. We know DDK. Everything will be okay. Everything will not be okay. Oh. Do you know that some people had to return their application? Do you know that
Yes,
they
applications were
denied?
returned.
Yes, applications were returned. Some people were rejected from entering into
Yes.
the program that you have the money, oh, but we're not really interested in you because apparently, let me give you guys expo. Are you guys ready? Let me give you expo. Let me whisper something to you. apparently Lady DDK is not even on the panel of people that review the application. Do you know? She got some fellow professors and some consultants and some auditors and some I don't know who, some gang people. She got all of them together to go and be reviewing our applications. So that they will now, so that this one say, oh no, DDK, you can't sit in the room with this person. They're not up to grade because we didn't fill application correctly. So let me just advise you as a sister that if
Yes,
you want to put your application, just take some time, copy out the questions, ruminate on it, write out, think about it as if you're applying to Harvard Business School, because honestly,
yeah,
that's how I feel. Like I was
that's what
applying
it
to an
is.
Ivy League university. Yeah.
That's what it is. And so I see a question here. How do you manage this with being in FFF? I mean, Bodam is the one to answer this. She's a support coach. She was a support coach in FFF. She was in VCAP. Bodam was everywhere. Bodam was everywhere.
Oh my gosh. How do so I sometimes I can be very brutal with how I manage my time. And I am now unapologetic about how I manage my time. A lot of us, we still make too many excuses as to the demands on our time. Too many excuses. We say, "Oh, I have to do this." We outsource responsibility. Let me put
Mm,
it this way. And I'm not trying to say in any way I'm perfect. I've dropped balls plenty, and then we pick them up again and continue. Some broke. It's okay, right? But don't outsource the responsibility of your life. That's what I've decided not to do, not to outsource the responsibility of my life. I'm just reading what DDK is saying. But bottom
okay.
line of what I'm saying is for me, I it was a decision I made because I was a support coach, right? It was a decision I made because I was a support coach. However, the DDK people, rather the Visionary Compass people normally say exactly what DDK is saying to defer FFF to enter into Visionary Compass. DDK, you're superhuman. Please, we're not comparing
Yeah,
you.
and DDK was so kind enough to make the FFF models available for us in VCAP for class of 2021 as well. Like she was literally the gift that kept on giving. Like
Yeah.
so much resources available, so much resources available.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we took the last question. It's been an absolutely delightful evening. Spelling it first with Abiola and then with Lady Bodam. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's know in the chat box how this night was for you. We've been here for what
Yes.
now? Almost 2 hours. Almost 2 hours, and it
Right?
has it's been an absolutely amazing time. And so we'll leave you with a call to action. Please
Yes.
click on that link, and I mean, just read more about it. There is a vision that we are all carrying on our inside, and it's our responsibility to birth it. But for us to do that, we all need midwives, and there is
Yes.
no better midwife than DDK, no better
So
midwife. And we are not saying this because she's here. Like literally, no, we are not. We are not saying it. Even if DK was not here, we'll say the same thing. Yeah, but yeah, absolutely no better midwife.
the
So
last thing with Bisola as we close out,
yes.
when we look at thank you, DDK. When we look at the world as it is today, and when we look at all the wahalas, and I know some of us complain as well. We're like, oh, I wish this is this. I wish this could be better. I wish this is this. I wish the solution actually lies with a number of us. If there's any problem that has weighed you down, any problem that
Mhm.
you felt like, I wish there could be a solution there, why can't you be the solution? And sometimes we can't be the solution because we don't know how to be the solution. And Visionary Compass Accelerator program helps you find the how, to helps you streamline that how. In fact, maybe you don't even really understand it. It helps you clarify. So it can help you clarify your how. It can help you launch your how. It can help you build your how. It can help you scale your how exponentially. So Yeah, that's what I'll say. Give it a trial will convince you. I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to at least convince you and not to confuse you. The Visionary Compass Accelerator program is your investment into yourself for the decade and for the okay, I'm gonna stop now.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. And I hope you had an absolutely phenomenal time. The chat box, the comment section is buzzing. It's buzzing. Thank you, Lady Bodam. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, DDK, for the privilege to be here and have an amazing, amazing evening or amazing, well, afternoon, morning, depending on what part of the world you're in. All right, then. Good night.
Good
Bye.
night.